Hello, my name is Sarai Mendez, and for my final project, I will be doing a project on Frida Kahlo, she was an American artist. So I'm just going to be displaying some of her paintings, explaining them, and then just explaining her life. So we're going to start. So this is her family. Frida was born on July 6, 1907 in Cancun, Mexico City. And her family, her mother was half white, half Mexican. It's displayed in the photo. And Frida's father was a German man. He was also a photographer. She had two older sisters, one younger brother, and she had a little brother also. It looked like with her family that she really loved her family, and she also really, really loved her father because he was artistic also with the photography, so she really liked that too. Something about her also, one of her childhood experiences before I get into education, was that at age 6 she had polio. And polio is a disease that destroys the cells in the spinal cord. So as a result, the muscles become very weak, resulting in paralysis. So her right leg was thinner than her left leg. As a result, she wore a lot of skirts. She never wore jeans. Throughout all the portraits, she's never wearing jeans. She always wore skirts. Her father actually put her in a lot of sports like swimming and wrestling and running to maybe strengthen the leg, but it really never did. So that's the result of polio, the polio virus. So, anyways, education. In 1922, Frida attended the preparatory school in Mexico. The best thing was that was really special about this. There was only 35 students that attended this school, so she became really popular for this reason because she was brave. I guess a lot of girls didn't go to school during this time, so she was really brave to attend a school. In the beginning, she wanted to study medicine, but then left that and started doing art. But she met her future husband, Riva Diego, and during this time, he was working on a mural for the school. So that's how she met him. So, bus accident. So this is a pivotal moment in Frida's life. In 1925, Frida was involved in an accident. Luckily, she survived. It was a pretty big accident. She was in critical condition. She stayed in Red Cross Hospital in Mexico for weeks. And over the course of her life, she had 30 surgeries because of this specific accident. It was a very slow recovery, but during this time, to alleviate her pain, she read a lot, she painted a lot, and she was a self-taught painter, so that's what made her so amazing. And in this picture, it's shown that it looks like she has a brace on her back, and she has this brace on her neck. In the photo, it looks like she's in a lot of pain, so you can tell from this accident, it really caused her a lot of pain. So, continue there. So her first painting was a self-portrait wearing a velvet dress in 1962. So this painting was her first one of her first. I don't think it's one of them. I think it's actually the first one where she began to learn to paint, teach herself to paint. This is pretty amazing from someone who was had a bus accident, and she's taught herself how to paint. She was very smart, I believe. So this shows her interest in realism. It also shows her interest in the Renaissance style because they had long necks, and she had in the painting it showed long fingers. So, in the dark background also, very, very nice. One of her many self-portraits. Marriage. So, actually, let me turn this page. For her marriage, she married Rivia, the guy that she met in the beginning of the school she went to in Mexico. So she married him in 1929, and in this photo, she became her trademark of wearing this traditional Mexican dress with, as again, she wasn't showing her legs. She wore either like jewelry, a flower headdress, which is not shown in the photo, but that's what she would mostly wear. She would wear gold jewelry and a lot of loose blouse also she would wear. So she started to make her trademark style. The one thing about their marriage, which people have documented, was it was very unusual. They got married and they would live in separate houses. They had separate studios and they would have many affairs with different people. So that wasn't the standard traditional marriage where you are loyal to one person. They had numerous people they would sleep with. So it was very confusing to many people. But yep, that was their life, honestly. Also, okay, so this is a painting. People think that this is she painted this in the beginning of their marriage. It was Frida and Diego Riva in 1931. So something special about this photo is that it kind of showed that she really liked Mexican folk art, as you can see. And this painting had a lot of flatter subjects, more abstract subjects too. And the painting demonstrated that Diego wanted a traditional Mexican wife. As you can see, that he's taller and bigger than her, and she's smaller. She's holding his hand, but he's holding painting material, and she's not, but she's also a painter. So it kind of showed what Diego really wanted her to be. So, also during this time, she also painted this while they were traveling to the United States. And in the United States, both of them were being commissioned to do certain murals in different museums. And also during this time, Frida couldn't get pregnant, so she suffered from many miscarriages, mostly due to her bus accident. And so this painting came along for Henry Ford Hospital, 1932. This painting depicts her hemorrhaging on a hospital bed. And this is a very personal photo. It shows a fetus, a snail, and a flower right here, and they're all connected by veins inside of her. She's on a hospital bed. In the background you see the city of Detroit, so that's where it happened to her, and this was her second miscarriage. So miscarriages are a very hard time. I could never relate to that, but and then there was blood on the hospital bed. This really showed the sadness that she was going through. So this is very personal, very personal. But I think many women can relate to this, the sadness of losing a child. So let's continue. There was also another painting that showed her, that kind of showed the miscarriages and the experience she went through. Was My Birth. 1932 was a painting that showed that she was giving birth to herself. It kind of showed that her mother was giving birth to her, but it really didn't show her mom. It had a towel over her head. So that was another painting that showed that. So we're going to move on to her first solo exhibit. But before that, in 1933, Curlo was living in New York with Diego, and Diego had a job at the Rockefeller Museum, and he was supposed to paint a painting called Man at the Crossroads. So the one thing that really got the owner of the museum really angry was that her husband Diego painted a communist leader inside the painting, because they were part of a communist party. They both joined the Communist Party, and he added the communist leader into the painting. So Rockefeller was really, really angry. He painted over the communist leader, but they later got kicked out, and so they fled to Mexico. That's after that incident. So this is the beginning of in 1933, where they returned back to Mexico from New York. So this is the beginning of her first exhibit. So in the first two, what happened was that she met Andrea Benet, which became her best friend, and she showed her that she was actually a surrealist. And she created her brochure for her first exhibit. And her exhibit was held in Julian Levy Gallery in New York City in 1938. So this was a very pivotal moment for her, because her art was going to be displayed. And this was amazing, because she was probably really excited. So it says here, this is her brochure that Andre made for her. So, I kind of said that. So the next one is another, at the following year, this is my favorite painting. It's so colorful. I love it. So beautiful. This was the Paris exhibit. In the following year, Frida traveled to Paris to display her artwork. And this was also a pivotal moment also because she met famous people such as Pablo Escobar and Marc Chagall, which were famous artists also during that time. She was able to display her painting, The Frame. So beautiful. It's so colorful, and it's again a self-portrait. So what made this exhibit so special was that she became the first 20th century Mexican artist, which is amazing and so awesome. Really, really amazing. Actually, so this made it really, really amazing. Okay. So this is another painting, the two Fridas. Excuse me. This was made in the mid 1930s. This painting demonstrated two halves of her. Frida painted this after her divorce with her husband. There was a huge scandal where her husband was sleeping with her younger sister. So, I mean, from that reason, that sounds like a mess. So they divorced. And she created these two pictures after her divorce. And right here on the right side, it kind of shows a traditional white European dress. And the other side, it shows like a traditional Mexican dress. And if you see here, it has a heart, and she's cutting it with a knife. The veins are connected. And it kind of shows how she rejected this side, that she really didn't assimilate to that European style, but she kept her true self. And this true self is what her husband truly loved. And I think she truly loved herself. I mean, the true self, her heritage. She liked her heritage. And I think this picture tells a lot about people, how we tend to transform ourselves to match our surroundings. And she didn't. She went to the United States. She did paintings for many people. And she never changed herself. So that's really powerful. A really powerful painting. Go here. So, after this painting, a year later in the 1940s, she again married Diego again, and it was really odd because they still kept the same relationship they once had. So they still didn't live in the same house, they still had different studios, and they still slept with different people. So it was still very unusual, but they wanted to get back together. They actually moved into, I think, their new house. Oh, and so they moved back into their childhood home, which was the blue house, which is La Casa Azul. And it's a beautiful, blue house, really bright blue. So they moved there together. But this one special thing is in 1943. She was appointed professor at La Esmeralda, the education ministry school. So that was really awesome for her. She was a professor, and she taught the people how to create art. Also during this time, during the 1940s, she sadly lost her father. So that was also very devastating for her. She loved her father. She really, really loved her father. And she really loved her family. So that must have been a really hard year for her. Slowly after that, her health started to deteriorate. Due to that, she started to go into drugs and alcohol to help her alleviate the pain. She had many surgeries, but from those surgeries, she painted this beautiful, her most famous painting, I believe, Broken Columns, which shows the pain she was in. So much pain. You see that she's cut in the middle of her chest, and it shows her spine. It shows nails all over her, and she's wearing a back brace. So it really just shows the pain that she was in, and I can't imagine that pain. I believe mostly this pain was due to her bus accident she had several years ago. So that was really due to her. So this showed a lot of pain. And so another painting that she painted was a self-portrait with a portrait of Dr. Farrell. Dr. Farrell was her surgeon, and he performed 7 surgeries on her spine. Again, she was becoming very ill from, I believe, from different types of things due to her bus accident, but he helped perform several spine surgeries. The one thing is that she couldn't paint for 9 months after those surgeries, and she was bedridden. So after she was able to paint after 9 months, she really dedicated this photo to her surgeon. So if you see her, her health has deteriorated so much she wasn't able to walk, which makes this really, really tragic. So her death, she died in her home in La Casa Azul shortly after 47 years old, which is severely young. She died of pulmonary embolism, which is basically a blockage in the vein of your heart. I'm assuming that it was a heart attack. Maybe it was probably just a heart attack she died from. Some people say that she died from an overdose of drugs, but that's not really sure. But some people believe that. So, shortly after her death, her husband turned her home into a museum, and it's opened in the public after he died in 1948. So I think it was really nice that he turned their home into a museum where it's filled with her art. That's really, really, really nice. So shortly after her death, she actually began more popular. People started to notice her even more than when she was alive. And there's many books on her, many movies on her, mostly due to her life and the strength that she had from all the experiences and miseries that she had. But though she still prevailed. She was a very strong woman. So yeah, Frida Kahlo was an amazing woman and an amazing artist. So it was really fun doing this project. Bye.